finds a wonderful new thought community as wonderful as interfaith out in your own areas, because we get mail from people all over the world who are watching this video, and we thank Reverend Dennis Stoops, who is videotaping, and Julian got to have a Sunday where he could do something that he wanted to do and needed to do. So as we come together to acknowledge letting our light shine, turning on the light, and letting our light so shine before the world, as Jesus the Christ said, that everyone and anyone who comes within your energy field will see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And what that means is that we let our light shine absolutely unconditionally as we feel the sun's rays upon us. Unconditionally. It doesn't say, well, you haven't really appreciated me today, so I'm not going to beam anything on you. The sun just does its divine thing, because that's what the rays of the sun does unconditionally. So as we come together and we acknowledge that we have a teaching, and that teaching is the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of man and woman. Directly taken from Ernest Holmes when he was asked by a journalist in one sentence, what is religious science? What is science of mind? And as we look at the laws of life, these dynamic laws of the universe, that we are all using them, whether we acknowledge it or not, it moves beyond color, race, creed, and sexual orientation. These are universal dynamic laws. And that trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. And when I got into this way of life, I took every single course available to me until there was nothing left but the School of Ministry. And then began to unfold in the School of Ministry, realizing that I could talk from the pulpit and say the word God and not be redressed as I was in the school system teaching self-image psychology for 3 different colleges. So when we acknowledge our ground of being is God, whatever we conceive our God to be, whatever name we put on it, what works for us, to go within to the secret place of the Most High, to pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to know that we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. Our life is always showing up. So when we talk about letting our light so shine, we're acknowledging in thought, word, and deed that if we want light and more light in our lives, if we want to feel the lightness, and I love, why do the birds soar? They take themselves lightly. As we begin to feel the light and not be so, we get so drama struck in our lives, and that things have happened and like it's directly toward us, even if it is directly toward us. And believe me, I have been in the public life for a long time. Things have been sent to me, and I used to get little ads and things with things written on them and little horns on my picture. And yes, oh, that was a nice touch, wasn't it? Devil or angel, I can't make up my mind. So, but I couldn't take any of that personally. I cannot, it's interesting. We just cannot go there into that place. And one of the things that Dr. Holmes said, I'll walk slowly because we know we have a new videotaper. Yes, okay. One of the things he said, and I love this, and I had something happen last week, and I went to this passage because I started to take something personally. And actually it had nothing to do with me. And he said, nothing is real to us unless we make it real. Nothing can touch us unless we let it touch us. Refuse to have the feelings hurt. Refuse to receive anyone's condemnation. In the independence of your own soul, of your own mentality, believe and feel that you are wonderful. Don't you love this? Believe it in your own soul, your own mentality, that you are wonderful. This is not conceit. It is the truth. What can be more wonderful? What can be more wonderful than the manifestation of the infinite mind? Awake, thou that sleepest, and the Christ shall give thee light. Right out of our Science of Mind textbook. Refuse to have your feelings hurt. And when I looked at the situation and what had happened, I really realized it had nothing to do with me. Remember, people don't do things to you. They do things for themselves. I teach this. I've been teaching this for 35 years. and more. But it's always interesting. We don't know the depth of how much we really embody this until something comes up for us. And so as I went into meditation about it, and I drew the larger circle, and I realized that energetically this was an opportunity for me. And out of it came other miracles from my drawing the larger circle of this situation. So we all have situations where we're tempted to take it personally. It's never personal. It's whatever that person is going through, and what that is called for here is compassion. Even if we, think they're a dirty rat and all of that kind of good stuff, once we get through that, we can draw the larger circle and realize every loving thought is true, right? And everything else is a call for healing or help, regardless of the form it takes. And as we open up to that, something begins to happen. It's not conceit. What could be conceited about knowing that you're created in the image and likeness of God, and that it is wonderful? Wonderful. I did a wedding yesterday, and the bride was just so gorgeous. And her maid of honor came in, and she goes, "You look so beautiful." She said, "Yes, I do." And she was taken aback, and I said, "I love that I just witnessed that." Yes, you are. You are absolutely magnificent, and you are beautiful, and I am so glad that you know that, and there's no false modesty in acknowledging, I did my best today, I got this gorgeous dress, I've got my makeup on perfect, my hair's done perfectly, thank you, I know that, and I am grateful for that. And I laughed to myself, because you could just see people are not used to that, but you say to little kids, "I love you," and they go, "I know. I know." They know. I have a grandson that just turned 2, and my daughter said, we took him to nursery school, and everyone around was older. He just turned 2 in March. And everyone was there, and they were all giving their names. And this is like when we know something, we know it, we're not just parroting what we hear. And so all the little kids, they were all 3 and 4, and they were given their names. And the person that's sitting next to him, they said, "And what is your name?" And he said, "Zach." And then they said to Tyler, "And what is your name?" He said, "Zach." See, he thought that was the right answer. And Tricia goes, no, your name's Tyler. But when we're young and we don't embody things, we just say things that other people say because we think it's the right answer. But the right answer always is within us. That we have the power to turn on the light, to be a vibratory frequency. Turn on the heart light, the heart chakra, which is the doorway to the soul. And as we open our heart, and the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart are accepted and received, oh God, my strength, my Redeemer, every day of our lives we are redeemed. It's a brand new day. It's an opportunity to recreate our life at a higher level. I've been into watching cartoons with my grandson, so he would watch something called Harold and the Purple Crayon. And it's a little baby, and he does this artwork, which I'm sure that Brett did that as a baby. And he had a little purple crayon. And every time that he drew something, and he wanted out of it, he drew like a little circle, and he'd go through it. And I thought, this is so provocative, because it really is sharing with children that you really can do anything. It may look like a purple crayon, but the truth is, it is our God consciousness, the violet flame, that prepares the way so that we can walk through that portal renewed, refreshed, and recreated. And not that we do not go through our grief and our physical things in our life, but to have this way of life and to say, I know at the deepest level that this too shall pass. But God's love, God's truth, and God's beauty is with me always, going before me and preparing the way. One of my favorite stories is an old legend of the old tribal medicine man who lived up with the northern lights. And all the tribe used to come at every dawn, and he would wave his magic. He had a magic blanket, and he would wave it. And he would bring forth the dawn and the northern lights and the radiance of the energy every single day. And everyone would bow down, and they would love their medicine man and realize that it was through his power that those lights appeared every morning at dawn as he went with his magic blanket. And he invoked the sun and the energy of the rays and the new dawn. And guess what? One morning, he overslept. And guess what happened? The northern lights came out anyway. And they were worshiping the person waving the magic blanket rather than realizing that there is a universal intelligence. And the sun moves on its axis, and the sun rises and it sets, and it's all part of the divine scheme of things. It is cause and effect. As I sat at the table at the Fool's Folly on Friday for the Well in the Desert, there was a psychotherapist named Patty, very beautiful woman at the table, and her husband was an orthodontist. And they said that, you know, they volunteered at Well in the Desert, and this is their sacred service, and that they were very concerned. She said, may we ask you something? Now, I always know when someone says, may we ask you something, it's about, you know, what's going on the planet. So I said, yes, what is it? And they said, well, all of this end of times talk, Armageddon, tsunamis, earthquakes, all of these things going on the planet, what do you make of it? Do you feel that it's the end of times? I said, yes, I do. I think it's the end of an era. I think it's an end of an era of greed, of lack, of limitation, of dishonesty, of lack of integrity. I think that there's a new energy pushing up and beyond what this is, and more people are becoming aware that we need to really put the energy forth, creating critical mass, to make that shift on the planet, and to know this day in whom we live and move and have our being. Are we going to have faith in tsunamis and what's going on? Are we going to begin to temper ourselves as a species? And rather than raping the earth, rather than giving back to the earth mother, rather than raping the rainforest, giving back, planting new trees, and restructuring and recreating the planet as we know it. This is what I feel, that the end of an old era, and we hear about 2012 coming up, and transformation. It's about creating energetically and spiritually the ground of being, that we are going into the spiritual era. That we've come through the Industrial Revolution. We've come through the age of mind with the me generation, and realizing that, yes, you are as close to God as I am ever going to get. And I am as close to God as you are ever going to get. And if I am in that place in me, and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us. So what affects one affects all. But I told her the Aesop's fable about where the dog, he found this wonderful little juicy bone. And he grabbed the bone, and he was just so proud of himself, and he went over the little bridge. And as he went over the bridge, he noticed in the lake his reflection. But he didn't know it was his reflection. So he saw maybe a little bit larger dog with a much larger bone. So as he looked in, he dropped the substance at hand and snapped at the bone, the illusion and the reflection of the water. And I feel on some level that's what our society has done. We've released the substance for the illusion. And now a new value system is coming in. This is what I pray for. We have a lot of work to do on the planet. We can talk about ain't it awful, all the stuff that's going on, or we can put the works with the faith, plant new seeds, water them, nurture them, fertilize them, and know this day in whom we live and move and have our being. That we can go and we can wave all the magic blankets on the planet. But the northern lights, the energy of the sun is going to rise every morning for us. Do we believe that it's for us? Do we acknowledge that whatever that particular challenge, upset in our life is at the moment, that this too shall pass? That I have faith in something so much more powerful than what is going on here. And that it's not about always having the right answer. It's about knowing who we are deep inside of us. So I said to my grandson on Friday when he came, I said, what's your name? He said, Tai-Tai. I said, that's right. You're Tai-Tai. Tai-Tai the great, the terrific. And to acknowledge our wonderfulness, that when someone says how beautiful you look, to say thank you. And, you know, I know that. I mean, to, you know, a bride, every bride I've ever, you know, they're always the most beautiful person. And they said, you've been doing this 35 years. And I said, yes, I have. And every wedding is different. Every person is different. I said, I do same-sex marriages. I've done marriages, you know, for all these years. In fact, the very first marriage that I performed 35 years ago, actually the second, was a same-sex marriage 35 years ago. And the aunt was there, and she was going to give a special little reading. And then I was going to let her do the pronouncement because she had just graduated from the School of Ministry. And there was such an energy and such an unconditional love in that room. And they were from Puerto Rico. And she goes, "Oh, Dr. Sharron, if I say, husband and wife, I will kill myself." I said, "No, just let's write it down. You just repeat, and bring it all together and acknowledge love is love, isn't it? When we let our light shine, love is love." And that's what I love about our way of life, about our movement, is that we really know that we are one, regardless of color, race, creed, or sexual orientation. We are one. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, and that life is our life now. And to go within to that secret place and to do our spiritual work. One of my colleagues was from Cuba, and he said, when I go within, if I hear a voice and it has a Spanish accent, I know that is an it. That the still small voice of God is a knowingness within us. It's not necessarily a voice, it's a feeling, it's an energy. It's recognizing the angels of our higher nature, the angels that go before us and prepare the way. It's about recognizing our daily life as our temple and our religion. What else is there? It's about our daily life. So I love the principles of successful living. I love the opportunity that we have to always grow, and the fact that no matter who we are, that there are times in our lives when we are put to the test, and that we get to go within at a deeper level, maybe deeper than we have ever gone before, and to recognize together that there is an energy in the universe. You all know the story about my mother, and when she was stranded for 8 days and 8 nights without food or water with my sister. My sister passed away on the 3rd day from her own hand because she thought they would never be rescued. And the young men in their 20s who rescued them, he said to my mother, and a young Mormon man, "What I know is I am a religious man." He was in his 20s. "And when I came up here to go hunting, I didn't realize what God would have me do. But what I know is I am the saint, you were the witness, and your daughter is the angel that led us to you." So the book that I am writing is The Saint, the Witness, and the Angel. And I feel that it has all of the things of life in it. I feel energetically that when my sister took her own life on the 3rd day, thinking they would never be rescued, that it was very difficult for her to be here. And in her light body, it was revealed to me through the energies that she's all right. So this morning, I want you to know that whatever it is, we are all right. That you are the saint, I am the witness, and the angels that lead us to where we need to be are within us, here and now. So I say, God bless you, namaste, and what I know is that we are going higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. God bless you, I love you, and I know this day in whom we live and move and have our being.